Hello everyone, welcome back to A Couple Books. This is Couple, and today we're continuing our little journey through LitRPG. Now, if you guys are asking what LitRPG is, be sure to check out my LitRPG video that I did like a week ago. It basically goes through the history and what is it. In my journey of discovering LitRPG, I have read a few books, but today I want to talk to you about two books and give them some honest reviews and keep them spoiler free so you guys are able to pick them up after watching this video. Those two books we'll be discovering today is by Cambry Varner, which is Gamers, and Tim Andrews, which is Ninetoes. So we'll be doing both of these LitRPG novels in this video, so get in a seat, get a cup of tea or coffee or some kind of beverage, and get ready. So let's get started. We're first going to start with Gamers. So Gamers by Cambry is a wonderful LitRPG novel, and this involves our main character, whose name is Sally. Sally is not always been into MMORPGs. She's kind of been a sole player. She's played online consoles a lot, played online games a lot, and she has been pretty much an avid solo player. Her sister, Darcy, who's, I should say, stepsister, is on the opposite side of the gaming aisle, where she's really into MMORPGs and she's super into like tabletop games as well. They are, of course, stepsisters, and Darcy convinces our main character Sally to try out this wonderful game named Shadows Deep. This is an MMORPG on the computer for her to play. Sally's convinced by her stepsister Darcy to enter this game, and they go on to basically teach Sally how to play this game, basically how to become better players of this world so that they can play and really enjoy it together. So Darcy signs on, has Sally sign on with her. Of course, when they sign on, things don't go so well because this is a story and we need something to happen, and enter into the fact that they actually don't just play a game on the computer, but they're actually in the actual world, like the actual game world. Crazy, right? We don't know what happened. All we know is that they wake up and they're outside the level 1 intro dungeon, and they're both in their characters that they formed on the character creation screen, but they are actually real life playing. They don't really know what to do. They meet up with another player that they were intending to meet anyways, and they basically beat the level 1 dungeon, which is not much of a surprise since it happens like right off the bat, and then the game ensues. And then they go on this wild quest to try and find other players, like actual characters and actual players who are in the game, as they transverse their way through this realm that's all of a sudden become really realistic and has all of a sudden like left the gaming world and has entered into the real world to a very scary degree. I super enjoyed this book. I thought it was fantastic. It was really fun. There are a few things that I really enjoyed about it. Number one, I really enjoyed the uniqueness of the characters. One thing I've noticed in the LitRPG so far is it's kind of a male character dominant genre. And I really enjoyed having some strong female characters be our leads in this story. So that was really nice. Another thing that was really nice was that they're not just like atypical people. They each are very diverse, and they have diverse opinions, and they have diverse thoughts, and they themselves, of course not in the character, but they themselves as real people are diverse, and the characters that they meet throughout the story are also these diverse women, and they all kind of get together and create this band of these really unique characters who each have a unique perspective. One other thing I really loved about this book was how it kind of takes you into a very strategic mindset. If you're thrown into this world and you've got no clue what to do or what's happening or why you're in this world, and you're just kind of freaking out, all you have with you is your stepsister who actually understands how to play the game, and then there's you who has no clue what you're doing. Like, it all of a sudden like dives into like, what would a real person do? And that's, you would have to have some strategy. Like, you've got two options. You either have a complete meltdown and just sit there, or you actually like try and form a strategy and survive what's happening to you at the moment. And so I really enjoyed Cambry's approach to this, because it breaks the mold, and you actually see characters who are not just these overpowered like behemoths wrecking everyone and grinding and becoming more powerful than anyone else, but you're actually meeting characters who are struggling to get by, and the only way they're going to survive is by using their brains and using strategy to get through. I super enjoyed it. I would recommend this for anyone who's into Lit RPG as well. If you're not someone who's into Lit RPG, I would still recommend this to anyone who really is dying for some unique takes on fantasy as a whole, because you meet these girls and they are very unique, and like you can really get their vibe, and I really loved it. It was such a character-centric story as they work through the quest and as they work through the storyline, and I really immensely enjoyed it, and I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars, because honestly, like when it comes to 5 star ratings, it's really, is there anything that the author could have improved on? And in my opinion, no, because I think she told the story how she needed to tell it. It's a great intro story. She gave us just enough to want us to really want the second book. She gave enough complete story arcs that you really felt satisfied with where she left you. Overall, was a very fantastic read. I really enjoyed it. 5 out of 5 stars. Pick up Gamers by Cambry ASAP. The next book I'd like to talk to you guys about is Tim Andrews' Ninetoes. This is a little bit different of approach to Lit RPG. While in Cambry's Gamers, we have these girls who kind of get stuck in a MMORPG. Instead, with Tim Andrews, you're kind of thrown into this world where it's not player centric. Like our main character is a character within a Dungeons and Dragons world, and this D&D character is basically a thrown away character sheet. So if you guys don't know, when you play D&D, you have to roll your character. What does that mean? It means you take a dice and you roll it to get their stats. And there's stats that are involved that like we've all kind of heard of. There's also other things about D&D you probably have heard of, such as like chaotic neutral, lawful good. Like these are all D&D things, and these components all go into creating a character. But the question is what happens if you roll a character and you just kind of like are like, no, never mind, I don't want that character, I'm gonna roll a different one. Well, they get put aside. This is a story about a character who got put aside. So we are introduced to our hobgoblin character Ninetoes, who is going to be a warlock, and we're super excited for his journey to start. Now, basically, what happens in this story, without giving away too many spoilers, well, basically, we're introduced to a character who has all the powers and capabilities and assets, I would even say, of a real person playing D&D. Like, they have their character sheet, they have bonus points, they have all the mechanics of like a real player, but they are just a fictional person within the D&D universe. And so here comes Ninetoes, who now wakes up after failing to kill some adventurers, and he wakes up and all of a sudden now he's an adventurer himself. He's got all the abilities of a adventurer, a player character, without being a player character. So we basically follow Ninetoes as he basically learns what does that mean for him. Who is he? What is he about? What kind of player does he want to be? As he levels up and dives more into his powers and what he's capable of, he has to do a lot of self-discovery and learn a lot about himself. In terms of the things I really loved about this book, I thought that Tim Andrews does a fantastic job of making a D&D adventure story not just be about the action, but it's also about those intimate moments with them, which Cambry also does, but I also think Tim does an excellent job. And especially since while in other novels you have those characters that kind of bounce ideas off of, in Tim Andrews it's a solo job where it's pretty much him on his own, and Ninetoes is pretty much his solo character. Of course, he does get a familiar, which is a little cute squirrel, which is the absolute most adorable thing ever, especially with the mouth on that squirrel, because that squirrel never had its mouth washed out with soap as a child, apparently. But this hobgoblin has to basically go in and learn more about his powers, go on quests, level up, and basically form himself into the character he wants to be, all while learning more about who he was outside of his character, who is he as a person, what are his goals and ambitions. I absolutely really adored this book. I thought it was so cute. I'm going to be giving this book a 5 out of 5 stars. You may be saying, why would you give 5 out of 5 stars, couple? My reasoning is like I said, there's nothing I would add to the story. I think it has all the best elements to it. You have a complex character who's dealt in some ways a bad hand from what his previous life was, but as he grows and learns that it's not such a bad hand he was dealt. So you've got great character development. You also have comedy, great comedy. The squirrel is absolutely fantastic. I love the squirrel. Libby is the name of the squirrel. Fantastic. Probably my favorite character in Lit RPG at the moment. Libby is my spirit animal. You have Libby, who's absolutely fantastic, and you also, it's not just about leveling up and grinding. It's also, there's so many more complex things moving in the storyline. So that is why I would also highly recommend Tim Andrews' Ninetoes to anyone who is into lit RPG. And if you're not lit in RPG, but you're really into character-centric stories and complex character growth, I would also recommend this book, because I think that Ninetoes is a deeply, deeply complicated character in terms of how he approaches things, and he's not just like some goody two-shoes. He also has like his own character flaws, which I really enjoyed. And I think Libby is, once again, makes the book worth it. If you're into squirrels or any cute animal companion, read this book, because oh my gosh, Libby's amazing. That is my rating for Tim Andrews. Both of these books I reviewed, I give them both 5 out of 5 stars. I really thought they were just fantastic reads. They both take the genre from a different angle. You have one where it's like MMORPG, and it's much more focused on like strategy and idea of like trying to survive as humans in this world, and in this game world. And then from the other side, Tim Andrews' side with Ninetoes, you're basically in a world where the character already knows what's going on. He already understands the world, but now it's like growing as an adventurer within this world. So it's kind of taking lit RPG from 2 different angles of how you can approach it. One being the I don't know what the hell's going on approach, and then the other one being like, I have a semi idea of what's going on because I'm a native to this world, but let's see what's about to happen. And they come together with amazing characters. So highly recommend you guys go pick this up. I really enjoyed them both immensely. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below, or if you guys have read it. If you guys have not read it, please pick these up. I would highly recommend you guys do. I really enjoyed them. Alright, that is my review for you all today, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. This has been a continuation of Lit RPG. I'll be keeping you guys posted as I read more Lit RPG. So, yeah everyone. Okay, bye.